finance YouTubers are probably ruining a lot of you guys' future ambitions. Let me explain what I mean by that, because that's a very weighty way to open up a video. Now, in 2024, everyone's out here trying to start an online business. You know, the statistics back it up, and everyone that I know basically is as well, including myself. The reason for that is, well, the reasons are plentiful. Whether it be the fact that jobs don't pay what they once did, or whether it be the fact that people want to make more money, they want to have their freedom back. A lot of people are now getting into the world of online business, which is creating a big marketplace for people making content around that. I of course know about that, making a video based on it myself, but I want to have a positive influence with this channel. I feel like too many people who get into this space making videos about topics like this are here simply for their sole benefit. And of course we all have our own intentions at heart to a degree, but I think a lot of people are lying on the internet, spreading essentially mistruths in the hopes of selling more courses. Now, I've just finished filming a video where I talked about how I made about £40,000 in revenue in the last 12 months selling online, and that's starting as a complete beginner. I know, just like anybody else, if not more than anybody else, that selling online, making money online is realistic, it can be done, and it is quite easy. But what I also know is, we're not talking about 1 million in a year. 40,000 for me is not bad. You know, I'm 20 years old, I'm not going to complain about that, I'm happy with it. If next year I can get up to 50, 60, if by the time I'm 25 I can get up to maybe 200,000, whether that be dropshipping or something else, I'm happy with that. But I think this is where a lot of people are going wrong. It took me a long time to realise this, and it took me a lot of loss to realise this myself, but hopefully you guys can be saved and spared of this. When I was about 16, 17, I got into the world of stock trading. Yes, I was very young for it, not even of the age to open accounts in most places. But moral of the story is this. In the years up until basically, well, last year or maybe the year before, I've lost an awful lot of money trading in the stock market. Now, where am I going with this? Is this just a story where I talk about how I've lost loads of money and why you shouldn't trust people? No, it's not. I look at the stocks that I could have bought back in 2020, let's say, and if I'd have held on to them, I'd be rich right now. Like 60, 70, 80, 90,000 pounds based on my £10,000 investment. I'd be rich, or a lot richer than I am now at least. And I could have, of course, been adding to that in that time. But I sold those stocks, maybe for a small profit, maybe for a small loss, somewhere in the middle. It doesn't really matter. But there is a point to this. My shortness of focus, if you will, my intent for initial gratification is what eventually led me to losing money and missing out on tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, in profit that I could have had. The stock market example isn't the one that I necessarily need to give, but it's one that kind of paints the picture very clearly. In the past 12 months, there's been lots of times when my business has dipped. You know, I've gone from maybe making 5,000 a month in sales to making 3, from making 3 to 7, from making 7 to 2. That feels like the business is failing. But when you stick it out and average the figures out, that's why we're here where we are, not necessarily in the woods. There's a bite, by the way. That's why we are at a £40,000 business revenue, because of sticking it out. Now, obviously, this business might fail in the next 12 months. I'm fully aware of that fact. But it might also make it to 100,000, 200,000, 400,000, I don't know. What I'm saying is, it's the short-sighted mind of the people who sell the image and also the people who buy the image, which leads them to not only miss out on riches that they could have had, but to lose money being in a worse position than what they initially were. Now, I don't say this to say that people can't get rich quick, but for the majority part, in my opinion at least, and I am only 20 years old, but I got into this whole business concept at maybe 15, 14, what I've learned in that time is, 5 years from now, I'm going to be 25, you guys might be 35, 15, I don't know what age you guys are. But when you are there, and if you have a look back even now, 5 years ago to me, I was 15. But that doesn't feel like an awful long time ago. It feels like it was only a few weeks ago. So, with that also being kind of in your mind, what if someone said that in 5 years you could have 1 million? But the downside of this is, it is in 5 years, and it's no sooner. Would you take that opportunity? Because I personally would, and I guess that's what I'm trying to say here. If you want to make it big, we're talking about a lifetime ambition. And I'm not going to say that you can't get rich in your 20s because this and that and that. You absolutely can. I'm already building a business which is massively succeeding the average wage of people my age. I'm happy to say that. I'm proud to say that. I don't say it to brag, but I'm looking at the facts, you know. And I guess to kind of quantify what I mean, there's been times on this journey where it's felt like I've not been successful, where it's felt like I'm losing, where I am losing, where I'm not doing too well. But I know that this is probably one of the more stable businesses at the minute that I can involve myself with. Factoring that into this equation, you've got to look at the likelihood of what's going to happen. You know, this stock might go up 10,000% and that might make you a couple million, or it might not. And that is, for the most part, determined by factors completely outside of our control. What is in your control is how you decide to use your capital, whether that be your human capital, your financial capital, now. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, I'm much happier to look back on the stuff I did 2 years ago and say, yeah, 2 years ago, I didn't have a car. I had this bike, which is quite a nice bike in my opinion, but I didn't have all of these fancy things that I may have now. It was only 2 years ago, I believe, or maybe 1 year ago, that I upgraded my relatively cheap old 2015 MacBook to the 2022 version. And I only say this to say, I could have afforded that at the time, but I couldn't have afforded it really, any of those things. It makes more sense for me to buy it now when I'm a bit more complete, and that capital has been invested into whether it be stocks, new inventory for my businesses, blah blah blah, all of this stuff, new filming equipment, all the stuff that's going to make me more in the future. So I'm not saying that life is miserable and life should be miserable until you make it rich. It shouldn't. You can have fun for free. I'm sat in the woods right now. It's pretty nice if you ask me. But I'm not even saying it like that. What I'm saying is, because this is a journey, it's important to remember that. The people who want to sell you this course, they are getting rich quick. And it's often not because they're stock traders. It's often not because they're real estate giants. It's often not because they're drop shippers. It's because they're course sellers. I like to hope, at least, that for you guys on this channel, whether it be publishing the numbers, which I often don't do in the videos anymore because I film them like this and basically upload them as fast as possible, that way I can do daily uploads. But my point is, I try and be as transparent as possible. Go into the community tab and you'll see the sales figures that I make. These people never publish the sales figures, they never publish their stock gains, and it always looks like they're trading on a demo account. We don't know that they have this property portfolio, and some of them may. I'm not here trying to say all property influencers are this and that, or all stock. I don't like the word influencers, but all stock trading YouTubers are this and that. Maybe they're not, and I'm sure we can all think of great examples where they are seemingly very, very good people. But what I'm trying to say is, this is your journey. And in 3 years, you're going to still want the Mercedes, the Lamborghini, the Rolls Royce, the Ferrari. You're still going to want it in 5 years. You're probably still going to want it in 20 years. But the difference between the you that makes it to having those things and the you that doesn't is basically how you decide to utilize your time, how you decide to plan things out, because diving in headfirst into something that you don't know much about generally isn't the best idea. And that's not me saying it from some sort of position of, well, this and that. This is what I've learned. You will just lose chasing that stock, which is apparently going to rise 3,000% just for the company to do a reverse split, and you lose all your money. You're probably going to lose looking to get into that stock market portfolio, you know, or this, or that real estate portfolio that never produces anything, or that this and that. You get the point. I don't need to give all of the examples, but these are just common examples, crypto as well, of not necessarily scams, but things that people fall for that aren't necessarily as profitable or as intent on making you rich as you may think. Being innovative is cool, being innovative is great, but a lot of the time with innovative companies, they are the ones that do not make that much money. It's often the first mover advantage that can be a disadvantage. Those companies can go bankrupt because essentially they spend so much money on R&D that they lose too much. To translate that into the example that I'm trying to give, if I was looking to make money nowadays, I look for tried and tested models, not getting a job. You can do that, of course, and a lot of people are best suited for that. But if you're looking to make money online, I'd go with a tried and tested model. I'd look at how I can do things slightly differently, and I'd also look for low upfront costs. If you can do it for free, it's definitely a viable business model, and that's what I'd be looking for if I was looking to make a lot more money into the future, as I am. So, now I've said that, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in our next one, which will still be filmed out here. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you soon. Goodbye for now.